Okay, I think you can see it. So a webinar open call. So here you can see all the different participants of the countries that actually registered for this webinar. So you can see we are really a few people, a lot of people here. But what I wanted to say was we will so start with a short agenda of today's meeting. First, Francis will introduce CEADS to you and also the different use cases. And then afterwards, Raymond from Chagask will talk more about the procedure of the open call. So that's on the agenda for today. So I'll give the words to Francis for now.
Good, thank you. Rani, maybe it's easier if I can share the screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all for coming. Now quickly. So I will briefly go over what is CEADS. And then, so CEADS is a Digital Europe project with a budget of 16 million euros. It covers 36 partners. You can see the 15 countries where they are located in green on the map. And we have 8 use cases. The project started last year in April and will last for 3 years. And now we want to open up to new partners to reach the 27 countries. So the countries in blue should be the new countries. A bit of history. So it all started in 2023 with the AGRI Data Space project. And this project was more an explanatory project. And now we are in the next phase of the CEADS project. The idea, and actually CEADS is not just a project, it's more a non-project. The reason we want to have it operational after the 3 years. So CEADS should become the data space for food and agriculture. And let's be honest, space is here to stay. And why do we see this as very important? We can come back to a quote that Thierry Breton made. It was a former internal market commissioner. And he stated, our society is generating a huge wave of industrial and public data, which will transform the way we produce, consume, and live. I want European businesses and our many small SMEs to access the data and create value for Europeans, including by developing artificial intelligence applications. So this is really a bit the heart of CEADS, where we want to use the data which is available and also drive business and innovation. This is coming to the next slide. So we want to use data because it improves the decision making. It helps to have more effective services, but also create more services, and it drives innovation. But this is more the general approach. And how does it now reflect to more to agriculture? So for agriculture, the data, it has the potential to reduce the administrative burden for the farmers and also enhance the decision making. It provides machine interpretable data for training of AI algorithms, so really facilitating this innovation. It helps with this, the CAP, the Common Agriculture Policy monitoring, and also with the subsidy management, which is linked to it. If we have data more available, it will support the transparency among the food processing chain, but also help the visualization of the sustainability practices that different actors have taken. For livestock, it can also support a compiled analysis of cattle health, for example. And now with the climate change that is coming up, it should also help us with the risk reduction and the link with potential insurances for farmers. If we then look to it more on a local perspective, it supports this local agri-food because you can make it visible, and also help with the tourism economy linked to agriculture. But what we see is that we are not there yet, and a lot of data is locked into silos. So we have for example, different FMISs, farm management information systems. We have different technical standards. We have different countries. So all these diverse systems and standards makes it difficult to exchange the data. There are also a lot of concerns on how to share this data safely. So what is technically needed to prevent that people that don't need access to data don't have access, and only the people that have granted the access get the data. There are also legal barriers that can make it more difficult on what is allowed. And then you have trust barriers. For example, a farmer is not feeling comfortable with a third party using his data. So we should also take these four problems into account. And this means that we miss a lot of your opportunities. So we see a data space as a possible solution. Here we have the definition of the DSSC. And how do they claim a data space? It's an interoperable framework based on common governance principles, standards, practices, and enabling services that enables a trusted data transaction between participants. If we now reflect this on the problems we saw before. So this interoperable, it's making sure that data needs to be technically, semantically, legally interoperable. So what are the standards we use to make data interchangeable? Then there should be a kind of common agreement. So this common is providing governance principles, standards, and practices in a rulebook and a kind of governance framework. You will see this coming back later in a slide where we also have a common vision for CEADS. And then finally, this trust area. So trust enabling participants to make informed decisions about how, when, and whom to share data. So for example, we have a consent mechanism where farmers can identify which data can be used by which data user. DSSC not only has this definition, but it also reflects this way of thinking in different building blocks. So you will also see coming back the governance, the legal, the technical. So this is a bit a framework that can be used to see if you cover all essential topics for a good data sharing. Now reflecting all this towards CEADS. So CEADS, it's really about agriculture. So, and agriculture has also his specificity because there are 14 common European data spaces to be created, and agriculture is only one of them. All these have different laws that have been created, like the Data Act, the Data Governance Act, etc., and they cover actually the full data space area. So here we will look a bit what's so specific about agriculture and what we should take into account when we are building CEADS. So first of all, we have the legislation. And if we look on how the logic and the legislation is being built, it's more like we have two parties. We have a data provider, a data consumer, which are exchanging data. And in this case, the data holder, the data originator are the data provider. So this is one entity, it's the same entity. Reflecting this to how it's in agriculture, is that we have this farm, which is actually the data originator, and who is not per definition the same as the data holder. So there's already a kind of deviation where we should really also align on how we will how we will encounter this or include this specific situation. On top of this, a farm has actually a legal person, but also a natural person. There are also other family members on the farm. And next to that, in many cases, you have contractors that are working on the farm, which are also using this data and also generating data. So many origins of data, and here also clarity should be provided. So so you have also the sector regulation. There are differences now being created, so these should also be taken into account. And then what we see in agriculture is that we have data sharing initiatives that have been created on national level, on transnational level, or just exchanging one by one data. And so all what's already in place of data sharing initiatives which are already active in the scene, we should also take them into account and see to also build upon this knowledge and integrate it in the vision. And to reflect all this complexity, which I just presented in the previous slides, we also have the 8 use cases. So a lot of this complexity is already present in the use cases. And we really put also the use cases in the heart of CEADS, as this is more a testing area where we can test the business cases, but also the technical building blocks, the governance, the legal. So, and we will go over a bit later into detail for the different use cases. Yeah, we have 5 work packages in CEADS. So in the heart, again, we have our use cases, and they are supported on one hand by the technical work package 2, on the other hand by the business and governance specialist, work package 3. And work package 4, we have more the ecosystem development, where to play, and 5 is the coordination. And as it's a non-project, we are really working closely to make sure that all work packages are closely interacting with each other. And to facilitate this interaction, there was a CEADS common vision created. So this common vision, we have a first layer. It's a collaboration agreement. It's also the common, where we had the definition of the DSSC, an agreement on how we will work together. Then a second layer is the services. What are the services CEADS want to deliver? So on one hand, we have the authority services. These are real CEADS services. On the other hand, we have non-authority services. They can be delivered by CEADS, but they can also be delivered by a third party if they are qualified towards the standards of CEADS. And this all can then supply the data and application service, the real valorization. And so it's also like a bit an exchange then reflecting to the DSSD blueprint, see what works within the use cases, and we try to create a robust common vision and update it during the project. So this was a bit on where we stand for CEADS. Now we will go over the different use cases, so you can get a bit an idea of what we are already doing, maybe get a bit inspired, and then to see what can how you can maybe link or work complementary to what we are already doing. So the first use case is on accountancy data. And there we will see what is the existing data that farmers are already using and how we can upgrade it for using for cap monitoring. So really maybe also improve the decision making of farmers. So existing data flows and reduce administrative burden for the farmers. We have Wageningen who is taking the lead in this use case, and with the focus on arable farming, horticulture and livestock. And on the left, you also see the countries which are currently covered with and below all the partners. Then for the research and innovation, here we see that there's a lot of high quality data sets which is available at different research institutions, universities, etc. And we want to see how can we maybe collect this data and make it interchangeable and use it for proper training of AI algorithms. The lead of this use case is INRAE, and the focus is on arable farming, tree crops, horticulture, viticulture, and livestock. You can also see the different partners. So this is a brief, and then I'll give the word to Rani.
Yes. So for use case 3, this use case is led by Chambre d'Agriculture, and they actually are focusing here on, they want to enable farms to exchange verifiable data through CEADS, of course, and that they can meet sustainable certification and also retribution schemes. So as you can see on the left as well, there are 4 countries working at the moment on this, use case. If you go then to the next slides, here you can then see use case 4, where we focus more on animal health. And here we look at, or this use case really looks at, okay, how can animal and herd data be made more available to improve animal health, of course, and also the robustness and efficiency, specifically on this genetic level. So here, LKW Bayern from Germany is lead. So I'm gonna give the word back to Francis.
And we go to use case 5, which has the aim to enhance machinery data sharing across Europe. And this is to facilitate the farmer decision making, but also improve the subsidy management by paying agencies and enabling transparency and sustainability along the food supply chain. This use case is led by Ilvo, and has. And then we have the use case 6 on risk management. So here the idea is to deal with the consequences of climate change and to use really data to reduce the risk in the agri-food production, but also to see how it can help for low-cost insurances for farmers. The use case is led by FBK, and the focus is on tree crops and viticulture. Give the word back to Rani.
For the last 2 use cases, indeed. So this use case 7 focuses on agrotourism, and here they actually want to enable the development of cross-border agrotourism and also, of course, the local food services. Here, the idea is that farmers, tour guides, and also tour operators and tourists, that they all benefit from it. And the idea is to support also the promotion of rural areas and a stronger rural economy within the EU. So here PSNC is leading this use case. They are from Poland. Then the last use case, here it's focusing on wine industry and viticulture, and they have 2 focuses. On the one hand, they want to address climate impacts on the vineyards, and on the other hand, also the consumer demands for more transparent and verifiable information. So here, Liz from Luxembourg is the lead. So this gives you an overview of the 8 different use use cases. More information is found on our website, so please go ahead and have a look at it after the webinar, please, because now I want to give the words to Raymond from Chagask. He will be giving you an update and also more explanation about the open call. Please, Raymond.
Thanks very much, Rennie. Can you hear me and see the slides?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear, and we can also see the slides. Thanks.
Thanks very much to Rani, and thanks to Francis for an excellent overview of CEADS there. Okay, so my name is Raymond Kelly. I'm Head of Research Support in Teagasc. Teagasc is the Agriculture and Food Development Authority in Ireland, and we're the Integration Manager in charge of running the open call. So, what's on offer? Well, successful applicants will join the CEADS Consortium, an inclusive and supportive group of partners. They will participate in a comprehensive integration program. They will participate in the use cases and have the option to start new use cases. They will take on tasks in the CEADS project, participate in the Consortium General Assembly, and contribute to project reporting. They will also receive funding for eligible costs from the Digital Euro programme. Now, you're all very busy people, and I'm sure the last thing you want is another time-consuming project. But in CEADS, we don't see it as that. So we foresee a lot of benefits for new partners from joining the consortium. They include business and competitiveness benefits, innovation and growth opportunities, and strategic positioning and European networking. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on those. So in terms of business and competitiveness, partners will have the option through CEADS to get faster time to market and easier European expansion. CEADS will help them turn data into business value and to strengthen your competitive position, and also support in cross-sector business collaboration. In terms of innovation and growth, CEADS will help you to deploy and validate real-world use cases. It will increase your expertise and boost AI and digital innovation, and help accelerate your innovation roadmap. And finally, in terms of strategic positioning and European networking, it will assist in strategic positioning in a trusted and sovereign European data ecosystem. It will give you the opportunity to contribute to European data policy implementation and contribute to European-wide business-oriented networking. So in terms of the applicant organizations, as Francis mentioned, CEADS already consists of 15 members or organizations from 15 European member states. And through this call, we want to find partners in the other 12 member states. And just to be clear, so we, at the end of this call process, we would ideally like to have partners from each of these 12 member states. So they are Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Czechia, Denmark, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta, and Slovakia. So in terms of the kind of organizations we're looking for organizations with a solid understanding of data space concepts, governance, and data sharing practices. Organizations that can, with the capacity to integrate rapidly into CEADS and to actively contribute to advancing its services, use cases, and ecosystems from the start. Applicants can join as single organizations or as a small group of organizations, up to 3 organizations. And where they join as, or where they apply as a small group of organizations, they should demonstrate clear complementarity and an interdependent contribution to CEADS. So the types of organizations that could apply, and these are really just intended as an inspiration, so this is not an exclusive list. So include data sharing initiatives, data holders, application or service providers, data intermediaries, infrastructure providers, or governance bodies. But as I said, take that as an inspirational list. If you think that you will be interested in applying to join the CEADS consortium and you're not sure if you would fit, you can send us an email and at the address that we'll specify later, and we can discuss that with you. So in terms of the funding, the rules of Digital Europe will apply. So eligible costs will be reimbursed. The reimbursement rate in Digital Europe is 50%. That's very important to note, just for those who may be used to Horizon Europe that has a higher reimbursement rate. The reimbursement rate is 50%. There can be no double funding, meaning you can't get funded for the same task from CEADS that you've also been funded from a national or a project with other EU funding. And in terms of the upper and lower limits, so we expect that applicants or applicant groups should have a minimum budget of €100,000 and a maximum budget of €260,000. And that's either for a single applicant or where it's a group of up to 3 applicants, that limit would apply to the entire group altogether. On average, we have budgeted for a budget of €210,000 per applicant or applicant group. But as you can see there is room to move up and down for individual applicants. Where there is a group of organisations, at least 70% of the budget for the group must be allocated to organisations from the 12 target countries. So that means that in those groups of organisations that can apply up to 3 together, there can be organisations from outside of the 12 target countries, but at least 70% of the budget for the group will go to the organisations from the 12 target countries. And you don't need to worry about a budget at the application stage. If you're successful at the expression of interest, we will work with you on a plan of activities and a corresponding budget. So the consortium has gotten together and identified priority areas where CEADS could be strengthened. But again, take these as a form of inspiration. So these are not exclusive. These are not fully encompassing. You can have ideas outside of these, and we will be very interested in those as well. But the areas that have been identified include organisations with data sets with strong potential for value creation through sharing. Those can be different types of data sets, including biophysical, technical, operational, environmental, and economic. And where value can be unlocked through trusted interoperable data sharing across organisations, sectors, or borders. We also welcome organisations that can help us form a stronger connection with other data spaces, including the Green Deal data space, the energy data space, and the mobility data space. We'd welcome organisations that can increase our connection with stakeholders, and that can include organisations working with or enabling participation by a broad range of stakeholders across the agri-food value chain. And we're also interested in organisations that can either contribute to existing use cases and or ideally propose new use cases. So again, in the call document, we've given some examples of potential new use cases. Really, again, those are very much to be considered as an inspiration. You may have other ideas for use cases that would be very welcome as well. In terms of the eligibility criteria, so ultimately the successful applicants will join a Digital Europe funded project. So we have to align with the eligibility criteria of Digital Europe. So in order to be an eligible application, you must use the template available at ceads.eu/call. You must submit by the deadline outlined in the call document. All fields must be completed unless indicated otherwise, and I'll come to that in a second. There are 1 or 2 that are not mandatory depending on the type of application, and it must be submitted as a PDF file. So in order to make things easy for you, you don't need to register on a grants application website. You don't need to fill in a very long form online. All that's necessary is to download the Word template available at ceads.eu/call, and when it's completed, convert it to a PDF and submit it to the email address indicated on the call document, which is ceads@teagasc.ie. But the deadline will be considered as the date it arrives in our inbox. So I've just taken out a screen grab there from the CEADS inbox, and you can see we will take that as the timestamp by which it's submitted. So if it comes in 10 minutes late, 5 minutes late, even 1 minute late, we won't be able to accept it because we need to be fair and transparent with all applicants and treat all applicants equally. So you need to get it in well before the deadline. Don't leave it down to the last minute when it could end up being pushed out and received a few minutes after you send it. So also, as I said, all applicants must be eligible according to the Digital Europe call for proposals. If it's a single organisation, it must be from one of the 12 target countries. If it's a group of organisations, at least one of the partners must be from one of the 12 target countries. And just for clarity, existing CEADS consortium members cannot apply, nor would they need to. But absolutely, you can look forward and expect to be working with the existing CEADS consortium if you're successful. So in terms of the application itself, you can go to ceads.eu/call and you'll get all the information there. Likely you've been there already in order to register for this webinar. You can download the expression of interest form and download the call document. In terms of the expression of interest form, it's a relatively short form. There is kind of explanatory text in red, so you should read that, help it to inform your response to the questions, but then just delete that red text before you submit. So the first page deals with the kind of administrative details of the applicant organizations. And this is where we come into not all sections necessarily need to be completed. So if you're applying as a single organization, you only need to fill in the blue box. If you're applying as a group of organizations, say with 2 organizations, then you would need to fill in the blue box and the red box. Or if you're applying as a group of organizations with 3 organizations, then you need to fill in the blue box, the red box, and the green box. Those are the only sections that are not mandatory for every application. So all the rest of the sections are mandatory. So then there are 6 questions. The first question is just a summary description of the organization that's applying. All the other 5 questions are directly related to the evaluation criteria, so it makes it relatively easy for you to see how you should answer them, and then for us also to evaluate the proposals. So the second question asks you how you'll contribute to data sets with strong potential for value creation through sharing. The third question is a contribution to the CEADS use cases and technical progress. The fourth question is cross-sectoral or transnational collaboration as part of CEADS. The fifth question is around complementarity with the existing CEADS consortium and alignment with CEADS objectives. And the last question is focus on the added value and business impact for your organization of joining the CEADS consortium. So we're very interested, that this should be mutually beneficial and that you have a clear view of how you're going to fit into CEADS, but particularly what you're going to gain from CEADS, because that's the most likely way that we will get very motivated participants. So you should have a think beforehand about how CEADS can contribute to your organization. Then once the application form is complete, you convert it to PDF and submit it to ceads@teagasc.ie. In terms of the process, you submit by the deadline. The deadline is the 31st of March at 1300 hours Brussels time. Once we receive the applications, we will conduct an eligibility check against the eligibility criteria that are outlined in the call document. Those that are eligible will move forward to evaluation. Those that are ineligible cannot proceed, and we will inform you of that and the reason for ineligibility. I would say take some time beforehand to make sure it is eligible. The last thing we want is to reject applications because they are ineligible, but we do have an obligation to run a fair competition, fair to all participants, so we will have to abide by the rules. But if you have any doubts about eligibility, do contact us beforehand because we would like to make sure that everyone is eligible. In terms of the evaluation, then the evaluation will be conducted in 2 phases. So there will be individual evaluations of each application, and then the evaluators will join in a consensus meeting and agree a consensus score and a report. So the result we aim to have a result to you by the end of April. There are 3 possibilities. So an application can score above the threshold, and in which case it proceeds to enter negotiations on joining the consortium. It could be above the threshold, but not selected to enter negotiations at this point. That would usually be because there is another partner from that country who has a higher score. So both applications may be above the threshold, but we would have to go with the application with the higher score. Or it could be below threshold, and if it's below threshold, you will receive that notification and we won't proceed any further. Then for those that are above threshold and invited to enter negotiations, we will make a plan for integration. We will work with you to outline the tasks that you will undertake and a matching budget and timeline. Please note that an invitation to enter negotiations is not a guarantee of joining the CEADS consortium. If there's failure to make reasonable progress towards an agreed work plan, budget and timeline, or if there's an inability to reach agreement on terms of participation, then the negotiations will cease. In that case, we will go back to the applications that have been above threshold but have not been invited to enter negotiations and see if there's another potential partner from that country that we could invite into negotiations. In the case that the negotiations are successful, and we strongly expect that negotiations should be successful if there's a goodwill and motivation, will certainly be on our side, and if they're on your side as well, then there shouldn't really be any reason that negotiations wouldn't be successful. And in that case, we will propose an amendment to the grant agreement to the European Commission, and subject to their approval, the new partner will join the consortium, sign the grant agreement, and accede to the consortium agreement. And just to explain those terms for people who may not be used to them, the grant agreement is the formal legal agreement between the European Commission and each of the partners. So each of the partners has signed, each of the existing partners has signed the grant agreement, and the new partners will also sign that grant agreement with the European Commission. And then the consortium agreement is an internal legal agreement between the partners, but without the European Commission. And that's dictates and kind of outlines how we run the project. So there are 5 evaluation criteria. These match exactly with the questions in your CEADS application form. So you can match the two when you're completing those questions. So the first one is contribution of data sets with strong potential for value creation through sharing. The second one is contribution to CEADS as a whole and technical progress. The third one is cross-sectoral and our transnational collaboration as part of CEADS. The fourth one is alignment with CEADS objectives and complementarity with the existing CEADS consortium. And finally, the fifth one is around added value and business impact of CEADS participation for the applicant. And just to maybe separate out number 2 and number 4. Number 2 you can consider as what will you do in CEADS, and number 4 is more about how do you fit with CEADS and why do you fit with CEADS. So although the use cases are listed as part of the objectives, the contribution to CEADS and how you will participate in the use cases is covered under number 2. So number 4 is focused on the complementarity between the current CEADS consortium and the applicants, whereas the delivery and implementation of the use cases are evaluated under criteria 2. It's also worth noting that in terms of the overall portfolio of selected applicants, it will include at least 4 applicants which are contributing to the development, training, validation, or deployment of AI-enabled tools, services, or models that either directly capitalize on data sets made available through CEADS or demonstrably rely on interoperable data sharing within the CEADS ecosystem. So not every applicant has to put a focus on AI, but in terms of the 12 new partners that we will choose through this call, at least 4 of them need to be working in that space. And when we talk about AI, as we said there, it's very much that definition that we have up on the screen. It's not where somebody is using ChatGPT or other tools to help with project management or something like that. The scores range from 0 to 5, and the reviewers can use half scores as well. And I won't go through each of these in detail, but it varies from 0, where the proposal fails to address the criterion at all, or up to 5 for excellent, and where the proposal successfully addresses all the relevant aspects of the criterion and any shortcomings are minor, and all the gradations in between. So in terms of next steps, so what I would advise you to is check eligibility. If you have any questions, write to ceads@teagasc.ie and put eligibility in the subject line. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you've questions in general about the call process, so outside of eligibility, again, contact ceads@teagasc.ie and put FAQ in the subject line. The deadline for those FAQ questions is the 20th of March at 1300 Brussels time. We will still try and answer questions that come in after that date, but what we're saying is the ones that come up to the 20th of March, we guarantee to answer them promptly. If it comes in after that, there may be a delay in getting back, or it's possible that they won't be answered before the deadline, but we will still endeavour to answer them. And what will happen then is the FAQs that come in, we will bunch those together and put them up on the website. So before you submit your FAQ, do have a look at the website and see, has it already been answered? But if you have any doubt, do please get in touch with us. We'd much rather get the question in beforehand and have a clear answer out to you than for you to be unsure and maybe to be frustrated then in terms of writing your application. I'd encourage you to read about CEADS. There's a lot of detail on the website, ceads.eu. Consider where do you fit into CEADS, what can you bring that is complementary, and what can you gain from participation in the CEADS. Then make a list of application requirements, note those that may take some time, and get start on those early. So in my day job, we help applicants from CEADS apply to funding schemes. They won't be applying to this one, obviously, but we give a lot of advice to people applying to funding schemes, and that's what I would always say to applicants. Start on those time-consuming ones, especially the ones that are maybe a little bit out of your control if you need to get something from someone in the hierarchy of your organization. Plan to have a draft ready 1 week before the deadline. Keep an eye on the FAQs and ask someone else to read the close to final expression of interest. So in that case, you will pair of fresh eyes will see things that you won't see when you're in the middle of writing an application. You're really into the detail of it, and sometimes you miss the bigger picture. So a pair of fresh eyes is always recommended to take a look at your application and to see maybe where it could be sharpened up or improved. And plan to submit the day before the deadline. As I said, the deadline will be considered as the time that we receive it in our inbox. So don't leave it until 5 minutes to 1 to submit, because there's a possibility it might arrive in at 1 minute past 1 in our inbox, and then we won't be able to accept it. So submit it in plenty of time. Submit it the day before, really ideally, or at the very latest first thing that morning. Don't leave it until 5 minutes to 1. And as I said, the final deadline is the 31st of March 2026 at 1300 Brussels time, but please don't leave it that late. Okay, that's me. Thanks very much for your attention, and I'll hand back to Rani.
All right, thank you, Raymond, for the explanation on this open call and the expression of interest for the open call. So thanks for that. We will move now to the Q&A session. I see that there already has been a lot of questions in the chat, so we'll maybe already have a quick look at it. And since Ray was already talking, you are just drinking, but I'll keep you engaged for now. So 2 questions for you. One was is a question about if there are small groups up to 3 organizations, could this be across countries for the open call?
Absolutely, yes. Yes. So you'll see in there that at least one of those partners must be from one of the 12 target countries, but indeed the other 2 partners could be potentially from the existing CEADS or the existing countries that are already covered by CEADS, or they could be from other 12 target countries, or they could be from within the same country as the other applicants. So that's totally flexible.
Right, thanks. I hope this was already clear. Then the next question is about the overall sum that we allocate for the whole open call. It was already mentioned in the presentation as well, but maybe a quick shout out to this whole budget again.
Yeah, so as I said, we envisaged an average of 210,000 euro per partner or per partner group into the call. So I guess that indicates we've enough for that for 12 new partners. But as I said, we have an upper and a lower limit. So it may be that some of the partners come in at slightly lower than that, some of them come in at slightly higher. But we've enough for 12 new partners.
Okay. Thanks. All right, then back to Frances. Also 2 questions for you from the chat. One was about, okay, we are representing an Italian organization, and we want to see how we can still contribute to CEADS, how we can be kept in the loop and so on.
Yeah, I think the easiest and maybe also most interesting option is to join the stakeholder committee of CEADS. So in case you would have interest, yeah, please let us know and we can contact you to add you to the list of the stakeholder committee. Like this, you can remain closely involved.
Right, thanks. Then next question also for Frances. If there are specific CEADS use cases that are working on soil data. Sorry, I see that Jurgen puts his hand up. Maybe he wants to refer to the previous question.
yeah, maybe first a disclaimer, I'm not perfectly good in applying all the rules of an open call, but I thought, Raymond, that also an actor from an existing member in the consortium can join at a limited percentage, no?
So to be clear, so say for example, Ireland, Teagasc is a member of CEADS consortium, and another organisation from Ireland could apply to join the as part of the 3-partner group, but Teagasc could not apply to join as part of the 3-partner group. So actual legal entities that are already in CEADS cannot apply as part of the group, but organisations from countries that are already represented in CEADS can certainly. So in our case, another partner from Ireland could apply, or in your case, another partner from Belgium could apply, but ILVO could not apply, and neither could Teagasc.
My question was not framing ILVO to apply, but I was referring to the Italian question.
Yeah, so for sure. Yeah.
So if they're not out of the top of my heart, it's if they're not FBK, if the question is not coming from FBK, I suppose, or from one of the other Italian partners, it's a possibility for them, but they need to work with with a new member state.
Exactly, yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
All right, thanks for that. So then next question for Francis was about, okay, do we work with a use case that is working on specific soil data?
Yeah, I think there soil data is quite a broad concept, so we should deep dive a bit deeper into which soil data is targeted. Because currently there is already soil data, for example, in use case 6 included, but also in other use cases linked to more climate monitoring, etc. So to be further investigated, or I don't know, the person that shared this question in the chat maybe can express it or complement a bit the question. Yeah, otherwise you can always also contact us and we will go a bit more in detail and then come with a more fundamented answer.
Okay, definitely, indeed. You can always reach out, indeed. And I see that Simone answered, so happy to follow up with Francis. Perfect.
Okay.
So then, last question from the chat was about, will partners interested to be part of a consortium be listed on your portal as a matchmaker solution? So here I see that there is a hands up. So Peter, is this question from you? Do you want to? No, you had still a question on the soil data.
I have a next question.
Okay, then.
Next question after you answer this one.
All right, first this question and then. All right, Raymond, please.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting idea. We hadn't foreseen that, but it's something we could consider if there's demand for it. So we can, we'll look at that. We hadn't foreseen it already, but it's an interesting thought. So we'll have a look at that.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks. But definitely something to look further into. And then, Peter, you had your hand up, so I don't see any other questions in the chat that need to be answered. So please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Peter Benedek from RDE, from Hungary, Netherlands. So we already have a double nationality. Good afternoon and good morning in Ireland. Thank you for the comprehensive summary. I have two questions actually. One is a short one, just to make sure that we understood clearly. Based on your concept, at least for the moment, from the 12 not yet target countries, one from each are expected to win and not two from 2 or 3 or more than one, right? So you are actually looking for one preliminary. Okay. That was kind of understandable. I just wanted to make it clear. Thanks. And my second and actually a bit more important question from our perspective is this. The scope and the budget is obviously to some level limited. On the other hand, we are having ideas or even more than ideas for new use cases. B, seeing you on your presentation now, we would have definitely connections to some of the existing use cases. And 3, we are participating and we are members of more than one other data spaces which can be easily connected. So actually, we could refer on all 3. My question is the following. Are you preferring, if I can ask this way, are you preferring to receive a proposal which is describing all different kind of options, new use case, connecting to existing use case, connecting to other data space, but obviously in this case on a little bit less detailed level because of the template format is obviously not allowing War and Peace size of descriptions, or rather we should focus on one specific item, going down into details and only mentioning the others. So is there any preference with that? Because that's a headache now for us actually.
Okay, look, I'd say you're right. We did keep their application form fairly short. We're conscious that people are very busy and that, you know, we didn't want a big 70-page application form like you might have for Horizon Europe or something.
Yeah.
So, but I think, look, in fairness to all the applicants, I would say put your best foot forward, as we have a phrase in Ireland, put your best foot forward. So make your best case. But for sure, if you've a possibility to create new use cases and to feed into existing use cases and to make connections with other data spaces, you should definitely put all of that down. That's all really important information because that shows that you're going to contribute to CEADS in a number of different dimensions. Now, where you choose to put more detail and less detail, that's a little bit of a call for you in terms of what makes your best case. But for sure, I wouldn't leave any of that out. If you're going to contribute at multiple different levels, I would certainly include all of those. And then it's a little bit of a judgment call for yourself in exactly how much emphasis you place across those.
Okay, thank you.
I also see that Jurjen wants to add something to this discussion.
Yes, I think what is very important that you of course you can say that you have connections to a lot of things, but what we are looking for is very specific added value, real data sets, real connections, real things behind it. So use the space to convince that you have real things. This is not Horizon Europe project. We need to start directly in deployment. So we are looking for mature proposals that are delivering data sets that are available, that can be connected, that can be exchanged. So I would use the time to convince the reviewers of that specific thing. If that is a kind of advice for you, or if it gives a little bit more clarity about what you need to write.
Yeah, thank you. That's clear, and obviously I meant only concrete things on all aspects, but that was a clear answer. Thanks. Thank you.
All right. Are there other questions? We don't see any more questions in the chat.
I might just add, Rani. So,
Okay.
so yeah, for sure. Thanks to the person that highlighted that we missed out on Slovenia. So that was my fault there in the slides. So just in case that it came up in the questions, but just in case people haven't heard that or might have missed it, yeah, for sure. And you will see in the call document that's all complete. So there are 12 countries, including Slovenia. So sorry about that. That was my mistake.
Okay. So Slovenia also in. Perfect. So if there are no more questions from your side, then we can wrap this up. So you can, of course, always contact us afterwards if you have any questions. This recording will be added on our website. You can also you will also be receiving the presentation in your mailbox. And as Jurjen said, real data sets. That's maybe the key takeaway for now. So please, and also have a look at our website, of course, to get more information. So you can always reach us, as I said. And so from my side, thank you very much for participating in this webinar. And also, of course, many thanks to Raymond and Francis, our both speakers. So good luck with the applications. Have a really nice day.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
All right.
Everybody, bye-bye.